learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have a peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful home. Sweet Liberia, land of liberty is our home. Keep it changing. This is the one and only home that we have. Sweet Liberia, this land of liberty is our home. Let us keep it changing. It's the one and only home that we have. Oh, sweet Liberia, love is all we need to make a stand. Unify and have a peaceful home. Change is all we need to make a stand. Let's unify. Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make a stand.
Hey, you there, hear me out. The Dakpana Show is a thought-provoking and stimulating talk show that brings topics of social, political, and societal significance to the national discourse for public scrutiny. We critically analyze and dive deep into issues that count most for or against our survivability as a people. We right the wrong with the exchange of ideas through dialogue, not confrontation, so as to make the world an honest and better place for us all. The Dakpana Show, which was officially launched on the 19th of April 2019, has over the years brought a high degree of professionalism coupled with accurate, balanced, and credible dissemination of news and information through its live Facebook broadcast. Amongst the hundreds of talk shows which broadcast via Facebook Live within the Liberian community, the Dakpana Show can boast of being one of the best platforms, if not the best, in soliciting the ideas of every well-meaning Liberian from across the political divide. The premier program is utilized as a conduit to promote peace, reconciliation, and national unity amongst all Liberians to the fullest. It gives the opportunity for all to exchange ideas and opinions for the better good of the motherland. As many can admit on the Dakpana Show, nothing else but the matters that count most in Liberia are discussed without fear or favor, void of personal attack. The Dakpana Show is everything Liberia and Liberian related. We are on the side of the truth. This is the national discourse. Join Dakpana Lieutenant Nicholas Smith live and direct from on top of the world via Dakpana 24 News and Television and talk it out.
Have a peaceful home. Change is all we need to make a stand. Let's unify and have a peaceful home. Sweet Liberia, land of liberty is my home.
A pleasant. Welcome to another edition of the Dakpana Show. I'm excited to be back with you on the Dakpana Show. It's a brand new day, a brand new month, the year 2023. This is the first Sunday in the month of April. As a matter of fact, today is April 2nd. So I want to say thank you all for joining me and my colleague, Mr. Papi Saver Cuddy, on another edition of the Dakpana Show. We are excited to be back with you. The Dakpana Show is a thought-provoking and stimulating talk show that discusses topics of national significance. On the Dakpana Show, we agree to disagree with dialogue and not confrontation. We seek to make Liberia a wholesome, functioning society for all of us. On the Dakpana Show, we speak words and we do not shoot bullets. The Dakpana Show is your one-stop shop for accurate, balanced, and credible news and information. We solicit the views of everyone in Liberia, no matter which part of the political divide they may be, no matter their political affiliation. This is where we discuss Liberia, everything Liberia and Liberia related. The Dakpana Show is a conduit to promote peace, reconciliation, and national unity amongst us all. Today we have some special personalities in studio with us. We will be discussing the issues that matter most to Liberia, focusing on the growth and development of our common patrimony, our common denominator Liberia. So without much ado, I will switch it over to Papi so as to introduce our guest. Mr. Papi Saver Cuddy, welcome to the Dakpana Show all the way there, not Columbus, but Pennsylvania. Welcome, my dear brother.
Thank you. I'm still hearing the theme song.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. I will take it down. Papi, go ahead. Your voice higher than the song. Go ahead.
It's looking back on the show. Like I said, we have to be able to provide the necessary information. So I'm hearing the song for myself.
Papi, just go ahead.
It's good to be back. Like I said, first of all, we're here to be able to. That's why you gotta take the song down. It keep distracting.
Papi, go ahead, my brother.
In the backdrop, you gotta drop it back and bring the.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's good to be back here. As you may be aware, Liberia will be going to elections, specifically this year, October 10th, 2023. We have technically 5.5 months to go to the elections, and it's a crucial time in our country history. As you may be aware, we also have the preliminary results from the quote-unquote controversial census that were conducted by Mr. George Weah and his leadership. So it is about time, and the essence of the census was intended for us to be able to have what we call boundary demarcation, or let's say to look at political demarcation of districts, because, for example, some districts that used to have like 25,000, information is that they have increased to 50,000. So And also, we have the voter registration ongoing. There is this memo from the National Elections Commission as well. The National Elections Commission is saying no matter what the circumstances is, they are not going to go ahead to extend additional days for registration. And others are saying the process is going as smooth as it is. So political parties that will be able to that will be participating in the process, it is incumbent upon them to be able to reach out to their various supporters, sympathizers, encouraging them to be able to show up in their various locales so that they can be able to vote. So today we have distinguished guests from the Liberia's People's Party, LPP, of erudite lawyer, Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, who is poised to be the next president of the Republic of Liberia. And from all indications, he's been out in the trenches, talking to people, encouraging other people. Like I follow one of his broadcasts on Tapeta Radio, where he was en route to Grand Jita County. I mean, encouraging Nimadians, informing Nimadians to be able to come out to register. It is good that other political leaders can be able to join the fray so that they can be able to encourage more Liberians to register. So it is our distinguished pleasure today, and we have I'm sorry guys, you know the name a little bit far for me, so I will go around. You guys will introduce yourself, beginning with Mr. Dempster.
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we are getting you loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Dempster Yala, a founding member of the Liberian People's Party, a party to which Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, belongs. That's the party that is sponsoring Tiawon Gonglo in this election. And I'm calling from Michigan, and I'm glad to be on this platform to, whatever issues, questions or so that would be raised so that we can help to crystallize those issues pertaining to our party, our candidate. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. And Mr. Dempster, is good. Papi, would like to know, Mr. Dempster Yala, where are you speaking to us from?
He said
from Michigan.
Michigan, okay.
So we also have the next person we're going to Dr. Augustus Roberts Sr. We'd like for you to introduce yourself and tell us where are you joining us from this afternoon.
Guys, thanks for inviting us to your show, and we appreciate everything that you've done here to inform the Liberian people. I'm Dr. Augustus D. Roberts, and I'm the current chairman of the Liberian People's Party. I am speaking to you from Maryland, the United States.
Okay, good to have you joining us from the state of Maryland. And also, we also have is that Dr. Yeki Do? I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, please. Forgive me for that, for butchering that name.
It sounds like when you eating hamburger and cheese.
And I wasn't born in the United States, so I should not be missing anything.
Try, just throw that. But anyway, I'm Dr. Kwanin Do. I'm a longtime member of the Liberian People's Party, an active member of the party's branch here in the United States. And I'm currently based here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for having me. Your host, Dakwana, a longtime friend of mine.
All right. Good. Thanks for joining us from Atlanta, Georgia. And we also have Mr. Zioga. We'll go over to Zioga, who will introduce himself and tell us which part of the United States he's joining us from this afternoon. Can you unmute yourself? Can you please unmute yourself, please?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I said, thank you so much for having us on your show. But one thing I blame the Liberian people, there is this word Zioga, Zoga, and Zioga. So you guys, I need to give the education today so that those who watching the show can hear that, and those of you in this link can also hear that. Zo. Every tribe in Liberia has a Zo, and that is Zoegar, Zoga. Then there is this one called Zio. That is Zor. Zio. That one is, Zoe is a Zo. Zeo is the Zio. Zeo. Whenever you see Zeo, then you say Zioga or Zioga. Then Zor is Zioga. So there's the three names in Basa. Zoga, Zioga means madman, and Zioga means mommy water man, or all the kind of stuff. So if you see Zoe is Zoga, that's the one all the tribes have. All the tribes have Zo. But many times people misuse that Zoga, Zioga. Anyway, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm the Secretary General for the Liberian People's Party based in the United States.
Which part of the state are you joining us from?
I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Okay, good to have you from joining us from Pennsylvania this afternoon. And we will go to Mr. Bush-Tate. I'm sorry if I butchered that name as well. Can you introduce yourself and tell us where are you joining us from this afternoon?
Mr. Bush, are you getting us?
I think we lost Mr. Bush-Tate. Yeah. We lost him. So
I think we lost him. He dropped. He dropped.
Yeah. So begin with, we're going to start as we started earlier on. We will begin with Dempster Yala, Mr. Dempster Yala. As you may be aware, the voter registration has started in Liberia. Tell us your own party involvements and what are some of the activities that you are using in this process to be able to encourage more Liberians.
Thank you very much once again. As you were aware, what we are doing as a political party is just to help to conscientize our people to the voting process, to the registration process, that they need to firstly. Hello, you getting me?
I'm getting you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very well. They need to firstly register as a prerequisite to voting. If you don't register now, after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line, time for elections and so, you will not be able to vote because you did not register. So we are encouraging our partisans, not only our partisans, but all eligible voters across the country to register now. This is the window of opportunity to register now in order to be prepared to vote. All right. There are a whole lot of shenanigans going on. You know, people trucking voters from one district, from one city, from one part of Liberia to the other to go and vote. Our people in Liberia are quite, on top of that. They are monitoring that. They are registering that with the collaborating parties. And then, of course, eventually to the Election Commission. And depending on how that goes, it might lead to the Supreme Court or wherever it would take us. But we don't want to even, go that far yet. We want to make sure that the whole process starts legally and fairly, freely, so that our people can have the right to vote. For some people, look, when you look at it, I don't know if I'm going too long, but when you look at the history of Liberia, this might be the third, fourth time that Liberians are voting in 175 years. I'm talking about in actual democracy, where people have the freedom, the right to go to vote. This is the third or fourth time. So we need to be improving on that process, on that record, instead of going backwards every time. So that's our main concern, and that's why we're trying to ensure that our people firstly go and register in preparation to vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We will move on to Dr. Augustus Roberts, who will also have his thoughts on this, and we move on to the next person. Dr.
Well,
Roberts.
thank you very much. As my colleague just said, we are currently in the process of mobilizing and informing our people about the voter registration process and other processes that will lead us to a more peaceful election. And currently, as you may be aware, we have one of the most qualified candidates in this race. And we are very confident that we are ahead of the other parties. And our abilities give us courage to inform you that our presidential candidate is going to win these elections. Going forward, we also appealing to everyone that are connected with the process to ensure that we play our part as voters and to ensure that the entire process is transparent. Thank you.
All right. We will move on to Dr. Panado. Dr. Panado, tell us, I know you being one of the strategic members, organizing various teams, organizing various chat rooms. Tell us, what are your involvements or what are the activities leading to the voter registration process?
Thank you. Going to ensure
Dr. Joe, I don't know if you're driving.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, we're getting some terrible feedback.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there's still a grinding on your voice.
Oh. Okay. Maybe it might go away. But anyway, just to reinforce what my colleagues, as a political party, we still grinding down.
Go ahead with Manish.
Yeah, go ahead. But however, I know along the way we have to readjust. Either you have to go out and come back in later.
Okay, that's what I'm.
Yes.
If you don't hear me clearly, just stop me and then you can go on to the next question. But as I said, LPP as a political party is all it can to conscientize our people to come out, register, so that they can be prepared to vote come October. We have many of our partisans spread throughout the country, in various counties, encouraging our people to come out. We're trying to use the mass media through using various methods, door to door, talking to people in the community. Our own standard bearer is out there. He's on the road currently. I think that he also spreading the word. On radio stations, use vehicles.
Yeah, we're struggling to hear you. So we'll hold you there.
Dr. Joe, what happened? I'm gonna hold you there. Yes, that would be better. So we move on to Mr. Zioga.
Zoga.
Oh, you is Zoga. Okay,
Zoga.
Yeah.
So guys, if you are not speaking, all you can do for us is to mute your device.
Mute yourself.
The person who will be speaking, then we all can be able to get them clear.
I think is that from Dr. Doe? Oh, he's already off. Okay. I'll let you speak basically on the legal issues which one of our speakers brought out. That is Comrade we know that the government wants to rig this election, and so they are doing everything possible to make it stagnant. But we know all of this. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we prove to the Liberian people that we have the edge to win this election because we have the most credible. We had the most credible standard bearer, and even as a matter of fact, the census itself has not even been legitimized by the House of Representatives. It has not actually been legitimized, and that is the law. But yet the Election Commission goes ahead because they are in some cahoot with the leading government. So we know all of this. However, we have to prove our case. We have to make sure that we tell the Liberian people, or we tell the government that we want to have a one-time win over them. And so our standard bearer is doing everything possible. If you see some of our videos that have been posted, it's so disgusting to see once we want to be a president of the Republic of Liberia walking in the mud, which other presidential candidate cannot do. So this is to show how serious this standard bearer whose values and practices has some coherence into that. I mean, he speaks what he lives. So we want to tell the Liberian people that we are prepared. That's the reason why we're informing all of the citizens who are eligible to vote, come and get your registration done, and then we can, at a one-time blow, remove this government which is not providing security, which is not providing the necessary aspects needed for living.
All right. Thank you so much. So we will go to Mr. Bush, who will introduce himself and respond to the first set of questions. Then we move on to our next set of questions. Can you hear us, Mr. Tade?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come on your show. And by way of introduction, my name is Bush Tate, as you correctly pronounced. I am Special Assistant to Councillor Gonglo, and I'm also the coordinator for his campaign here in America. I want to apologize for, although I came on the show, I think I was the first to come on, but just before the show actually started, I had some challenges with my connections, and so I had to go off and come back. And I want to say thanks to Honorable Zoga for educating me on the way to pronounce his name, because I've always wanted to ask him for the right pronunciation.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't fortunate to get the question that people were responding to. If you could just repeat that for me, I will be happy to respond.
Basically, I'd like to know from you, or would like to know from you, voter registration have started already. What are some of the methodology that has been put in place by the LPP in order to consult the Liberian voters to go out there to get in their voter cards? Because it is their trump card.
Okay, well, we know, we at the LPP and other auxiliary organizations that support Councillor Gonglo are fully aware that if voters don't go out to vote, especially the voters who are supporting Councillor Gonglo cannot win the elections. Apparently, that's the only thing that could possibly prevent him from winning the elections. That is, if the voters don't go out to vote, because once they go, we know that Councillor Gonglo stands the best chance amongst candidates. Now, and so we are making every effort to ensure that those voters get out to vote. Some of them have resolved to supporting the councillor at all costs, so they are financing their own transportation to get to locations where they can register. Others are financially challenged, and so in those cases, we help to facilitate their transportation to the sites where they can register, because we know that challenge is not their own fault. It's the making of the leadership we have that has caused them to be in a predicament. So we, even the councillor he's been making tours around the country, and everywhere he went, he made them conscious of that when it comes times to vote, to register to vote, they need to register, because if they don't register, they won't vote. And he's made it clear on all of his visits to all the counties he's visited, beginning with Bond County, then to Nimba, to Baza, Riverses, and then he went to the southeast, the southwest, visited Cape Mount, Bapolu, Bombing, and now he's in the southeast visiting. He's already visited Grand Gita. He slept in Samuelsville, town, Tucson. He went on to River G, Maryland County. Yeah, and then River G after that. And he's heading to Sino now. And on every visit, he's making sure to conscientize the people about registering to vote. So yes, we're doing everything humanly possible to make sure people register to vote.
Okay. This is another crucial part of the questioning aspect. Okay. We have 6 months, 8 days to the polls. LPP does not have.
Have you gone low?
Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah. So we have 6 months, 28 days elections. And LPP does not have a vice standard bearer. We just see the standard bearer going from county to county. So, tell us, what are the plans, beginning with
Well, do you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Very well. Thank you very much. Most times you will hear that the standard bearer of the party, of the configuration, has that right, has that option, to elect or select their vice standard bearer. But in LPP, it would be a little bit, I don't want to say quite different, because Mr. Gonglo would be, of course, allowed to choose or to point a running mate to us, and we will have the ability to vet that person to make sure they fit our mode of operation, our expectation and aspiration as a political organization. But you will also realize that in politics, not only in Liberia but all over, people have more interest in the political candidate. The presidential candidate more than the vice presidential candidate. So the vice presidential candidate is only added to the ticket as a matter of tactics, as a matter of a strategy. In terms of when I get this person from Bond, Nima, Lofa, wherever, how many votes they will add to me and whatnot. So in other words, to cut long story short, that is not a rush, because we already know the vote-rich counties in Liberia. We already therefore know where to grab somebody, like one of you on the platform tonight to say, can you join us? Send you from Nimba, send you from Lofa, send you from Montserrat and whatnot, so we can win this thing here. Ours is more, little bit more than that. We believe in real democracy, in real politics, so that it would not just be for the option of winning elections, but the person must be productive. The person must be a people-centered person, so that what we have advocated since the 1970s, but we were formally organized in 1984 as a political party. All the things that we have we have advocated, that person must stand for that. So it would take time. So in other words, we are not in a rush. We'll take our time and we'll come up with somebody that people will appreciate, people will embrace. But so we are aware of what is happening. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that took me to my next question, and the question will be going to Dr. Roberts. Dr. Roberts, there are information within political quarters of Liberia that there are conversations that is being held behind closed door with Nobel laureate Lehman Bowie. What is that? I mean, is that what is the stand of the LPP? Do you have any information regarding that? Dr. Roberts, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself?
Sure.
I got unmute. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I do have a lot of information, and I can tell you that every serious political party always look at serious people when it comes to being the presidential candidate, when it comes to being a vice presidential candidate, and all other positions that are relevant to good governance. As my colleague just pointed out, our processes are a little bit rigorous compared with other political parties. We have gone to convention, and we had a very serious contest, and Councillor Gonglo came out victorious, and he's our presidential candidate. When it comes to selection of vice presidential candidate, a few months ago, our presidential candidate set up a committee to scout around for someone that is credible, someone that has integrity to be his running mate. And the committee is working on that. At the appropriate time, we're going to inform the Liberian people where we are and where we are heading. But as I just informed you, all our processes are characterized by serious democratic processes, not just picking somebody because the person has a reputation, like the Nobel laureate, picking somebody because the person probably has money. We look for integrity, and that is the road that we are on. And whenever we are very close to getting there, someone like you or the Dakwana show will be very much aware, and we're going to bring somebody that you also appreciate and you also want to work with. And this is where we are. Unlike other political parties, you are not going to hear whether they have convention to carry out elections. Somebody is already preordained or leader of that party. Our party is not like that. So we're currently vetting people on the grounds that my colleague just listed earlier. And we're going to get to you pretty soon. We bring you a team of leadership that understand and has the ability to properly manage and lead Liberia. This is the role we are on.
Dr. Roberts, just to jump in, I heard you saying that Councillor Gonglo set up a committee to sort out a possible running mate. Why is that? That shouldn't be something hard to do. He knows who is best suited within the party, to take along with him on the journey. So why are you guys setting a committee? Why can't he just see there's someone from the party? You got a lot of credible people within the party that can work with him. So why can't he just pick someone instead of setting up a special committee to do that?
Well, when it comes to the Liberian People's Party, we take democracy seriously. So throughout, if you will follow us and welcome, you are going to see that every process that we have is a little bit rigorous, a little bit more rigorous, in that if you are a presidential candidate, You make decisions in our party, but you do not have all the authority per se because the party reigns supreme. So in our party, we have elected a presidential candidate. The presidential candidate has powers, but in consultation with the executive and national committee of the party. So you're going to come out, but you have to put forth names for those names to be vetted, as my colleague pointed out. And then the presidential candidate or the standard bearer can make the announcement. So it is not just one size fits all. We have the man has all the power because he elected, like other parties are doing. Therefore, he's just going to select someone. No, he's going to recommend, and those people will be vetted accordingly before he can come, before he has the authority now to announce to the world, look, I've presented several qualified people. My party, including my committee, has approved of this person, and this person is going to be my running mate. That is what differentiates us from other political parties.
Okay.
Can I add to that if you don't mind?
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Roberts, I'll hold you there. I'll go to Mr. Z.
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Make an add.
Thank you very much. Again, this is thank you. This is Dempster. In the election of 2017 or the election before then, as I introduced myself, I told you guys I live in Michigan. And so some folks from here, my colleagues from here in Michigan, came to me to prevail on me, that they want Councilor Gonglo to run to be president. So I told them, say, you know what? I really, appreciate the fact that you guys recognize my partisan, to be a presidential material, but that's not how it works in our political party. So even if you guys put his name forward, it has to come from within the party. All right. And so we went about that or so, again, it did not materialize because even he himself was not prepared to go at the time. That's the thing I like about our, Standard Bearer, Gonglo. He's not that, selfishly ambitious, that by the time you say this, he ready to jump for it. Even in this election process, you guys who are in journalism will recall that sometime last year, before the party even, elected him as standard bearer, some of the brother, I think, Bush Tati and other people also even selected the man before the party would even nominate him to be standard bearer. And he kept informing and telling them that, look, I appreciate your preferment of me and what have you or so, but it has to come from my party. That's the kind of person, Chairman Gonglo is. All right. That he waited for his party to nominate him before he would start campaigning, before he would start stepping forward or so. So he's not just one of those anxious for power, greedy for power, and it has to go through the vetting process within our party. So those are some of the factors that I don't want to say delay, but giving time to the selection of the vice presidential candidate or nominee. Thank you.
Let me just jump in quickly before you ask the next question, Dakwana. The Liberian People's Party wants to make sure that she set up an egalitarian government. That is where there is fair play, where there is justice, where there is respect for women and children. And if we're going to have a government that is a fair government, we go beyond party line. And so the committee also going to bring in people that are qualified beyond the party. You heard our chairman telling you that we do serious democracy. Once you are qualified, you don't necessarily have to be a member of our political party. Once you are qualified, and through the vetting process, and when we show that you're going to go in line with our 10-point agenda, the standard bearer are going to accept you. So we'll go beyond party line, and so it's necessary to have.
So what's the qualification like? What are the requirements? Requirement are you looking into?
Okay, so if we were to say we're drawing up a qualification, you must be a Liberian. You must you must have the same mindset and work along with, upholding the 10-point agenda that we have. With that same mind, and we know that, yes, indeed, you're going to work directly with the president, and then you're going to reinforce, or you're going to accept whatever agenda we have for the Liberian people.
Very good.
Okay, so I have a question here, and any of you guys can jump on it. We are getting information from the corridors of the how you call it, political establishment in Liberia, that the reason why Councillor Bongo is delaying in naming his running mate is because he is in discussion with former VP Bwaka. It's like VP Bwaka is looking a way to select him as running mate. How can you guys address yourself to such rumors?
Well,
Yeah, I can come in there.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, Councillor Gonglo has not chosen a running mate yet, but you know that Councillor Gonglo has been practicing law in Liberia for the last 34 years. Prior to that, Councillor Gonglo has always been an activist. So he understands the issues in Liberia. He knows the people in Liberia. He knows all the many players that have come and gone through Liberia politics. And so for that reason, the party trusts him. That's why the party was confident when he got elected that we do have the best candidate, and so the party doesn't really have any issues with him, whoever he chooses. But the reason he first of all set up the committee is because even Councillor Gonglo, who knows all the players well in Liberia, given his level of interaction with Liberian politicians and other key players, can make a mistake with somebody's reputation because he may not know everything about them. So that committee helps to vet those people, so that even if Councillor Gonglo says this is my choice for VP candidate, and that committee sees something wrong with that person's record or their reputation somehow, they will point out to him that this is not a good choice for XYZ reason. And so as far as him being in consultation with Honorable Boyka, I will tell you upfront that Honorable Boyka has never made a call to Councillor Gonglo. Councillor Gonglo is open to discussion with everybody. Councillor Gonglo, I know people have misinterpreted Councillor Gonglo as saying Councillor Gonglo is adamant about being president, so he doesn't want to collaborate. That is, as a special assistant, I can tell you that is not true. Councillor Gonglo is open to collaboration. He hasn't singled out any particular candidate that he will sit down with for discussion. All Councillor Gonglo is asking for is, if you want me to collaborate with you, we need to sit down and talk, because we don't want to go into a collaboration where we don't understand one another. We have different visions for the country, different ways of arriving at our vision for the country, and then we have to be at loggerheads after we have been elected by the people. So why don't we sit down and have this discussion before? So it's natural to think that Councillor Gonglo is delayed because he's in consultation with Honorable Boyka. Some people will say he's delayed because he's in consultation with Mr. Cummings. Some people will say, oh, he's even talking to George Weah. Some people, like you said earlier, he's probably talking to laureate winner Lemon Bowie. These people, all of them have a reputation, and Gonglo talks to everybody, whether you have reputation or not. If you really know Councillor Gonglo, then you think he's talking to everybody to be his running mate or to collaborate, because he talks to everybody regardless of who you are. You probably don't even know that he visited Honorable Boyka in the hospital because he didn't publicize it, But that's his humanitarian side. He went there and saw the old man in the hospital.
It was in the news. It was in the news. That was one of my line of questioning.
Okay,
Is
so
that
yeah, so
the visit that he did? It is that he was going there to, how you got it, buy sympathy from Vivi Bwaka.
yeah, but I tell you what, Councillor Gonglo will do that with any candidate. If you're sick, not just candidate, anybody, he will go. He will go to look for you, visit with you. He went there. He did not discuss. And I'm telling you because I'm a special assistant. He did not discuss collaboration. By the way, he cannot discuss collaboration with Boyka because he's an underdog. Boyka has to lead that conversation. Boyka did not bring it up, and he did not proffer it. So it doesn't mean that he's not open to it. He's open to it from any of the candidates participating in the race. He just wants a discussion. You got to talk and make sure you're on the same page. What Councillor Gonglo wants is Liberia to move in the right direction. Councillor Gonglo is not really particular about being president or vice president. He wants to be a project director that will transform Liberia in the right direction. If you know anything about Councillor Gonglo, you know that he's a transformational leader. He's demonstrated it at the Justice Ministry as Solicitor General. He demonstrated it as Labor Ministry. He demonstrated it as president of the Liberian Law Bar Association. So he's demonstrated it all his limited capacities. So imagine if you were to give him the power of the presidency, he will be able to do more. So it's easy to see the kind of transformational leader Councillor Gonglo is. So expect Councillor Gonglo to get into conversation with everybody. It's difficult to tell who he's asking to be his running mate. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for insights. And now we're going to go to governance. Let's look at the George Weah Lea administration for the past 5.5 years, and what difference you think Councillor Gonglo is bringing to be able to transform. Because, for example, all Liberian will say, they are the same politicians, they come with the same rhetorics. What are the assurance that the Liberian people can see as a trump card? That, oh yeah, when we give him the hem of authority, he can be able to transform the needed results that we, the Liberian people, will need. Anybody can begin answering the question.
Okay, let me come in here, and I understand you talk about governance, and you also talk about the Liberian people. And if you've been watching most of Councillor Gonglo's appearances, he mentioned one thing, that the Liberian people should now think twice before they make a next decision when it comes to the kind of person they will elect as president. This is because if you give someone who does not have that qualification to be a good manager and to also have leadership skills, we'd rather go backward instead of going forward. Let me point out something about governance and national development. National development is based on adequately utilizing the factors of production. What are the factors of production? We look at natural resources, we look at labor, we look at capital, we look at entrepreneurship. And if you put in someone in power like George Weah, who does not understand how to manage a football team, but you give him all the resources in the nation for him to manage it, and at the same time you're talking about governance, you already gave him a blank check. This is why we're coming in with a structure that understands where development starts from, how governance should be carried out, that governance should be consultative. We're going to have an inverted pyramid. The people at the top are the people of Liberia. They will make most of the decision based on how their natural resources are utilized. We need trained manpower, and Councillor Gongo have pointed to that. He lectured people about how to get Liberia going forward. He talked about in terms of agriculture. He talked about the army being an integral part of the agricultural sector to help the people, to make sure that people have the resources they need, both human and material. So when it comes to governance, you need someone like Councillor Gonglo who understands what governance is. And this is why we are here today talking. There's a lot going on in Liberia. There's insecurity. There's also lack of food. There's lack of transportation. And all these problems are because you put someone in power that does not understand governance. And that is why we have come with a man of integrity, the man of law and order, to be able to restore integrity and for us to have a better a government come October 2023. Thank you.
Let me just jump in before the senior comrade Yara. I know he's one to come in. That's our most senior comrade here. But let me just come in to add on to what the chairman have just said. You know, here is this saying: you can never make a well-advanced medical doctor. You cannot give him a carpentry contract to do. You cannot. Do you understand that word? A very good medical doctor can never perform a carpentry job. He cannot. And that's what we did in Liberia. That was the very mistake we ever made. And at this time, that's the reason why the Liberian People's Party is in this election, to make sure that the Liberian people don't make this mistake anymore. And as a matter of fact, because he failed his own profession, and so he failed good governance. He failed the test. He can never. Now, the question about what is the comparison between, or what would be the difference between the present government and the government of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo once we win the election, there's going to be a very big difference. I said previously that your values and your practices must have coherence. What does that mean? You must speak what you live. You must live what you speak. Councillor Gonglo has been a poor man lawyer. He respects the rights of human. Look at what happened in Liberia today. If you were to walk in the marketplaces and someone else hate you or kill you, no question. The police is not going to intervene. We saw that in the earlier incident. No police will come around. An abuse of the rights of the citizens. This Councillor Gonglo hate. That's why he's a human rights lawyer. That's why he won a lot of reward for his human rights record. So that's going to be a very big difference. There are lots, but that's just one compelling. That is just one compelling difference that's going to be between the Tiawan-led Gonglo government and the present government. Arrest.
All right. So, Bush, Doctor, you want to comment on that as well? Then we'll move on. Hello, Bush. Can you hear us?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Can
you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. So the reason Councillor Gonglo finally accepted to participate in the elections is because of the poor governance that has been demonstrated over and over. Councillor Gonglo believes in good governance. He believed in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, for example, and he worked in her government. It's because at some point she was not exhibiting good governance, he stepped out. He has said repeatedly, if the George Weah led government could portray good governance, he will not put his hat in a race. He will not bother to run. But because there has been a repeated failure at good governance, Councillor Gongo decided to get in the race, and he has prescribed his 12-point agenda, how he's going to achieve good governance. And there are so many times he has said, look, I don't see any reason why we are struggling in this country. We got to ask international community for money to perform the things that we need to perform to demonstrate good governance. It's not called for because we got the money. It's just that we don't have a government that will protect our money. They lost our 16 billion in a container. We can't find a whole container. They lost our 125 million that was taken to map up that money. Then they lost the corrupted. So if with Councillor Gonglo, he has prescribed exactly how an effective good governance program could convert all that lost money and that corrupted money into the government coffers. And he said to do that, he will make sure there's lifetime audit that will prevent people from being corrupt in his government. People will already know what you own and what you don't own and what you make before you can even work in his government, because starting with him, his assets and everything going to be on the internet. So there are just simple steps that you need to take to ensure that good governance can be actualized. Until you do those things, you only try to achieve it cosmetically, and that doesn't work. So I can assure you that Councillor Gongo will definitely demonstrate good governance. I said earlier that in his limited rules, when he showed how the Ministry of Justice can accomplish good governance by the simple things he's done. We always feel the index here for good governance and lack of security and corruption. That's why we cannot get the money from that usually given to countries that pass the what they call the
MCC scorecard.
The MCC, yeah, the scorecard. So yeah, those are simple things that Councillor Gongo knows that he can accomplish, because if you doing lifetime audit every 3 months, people will be afraid to steal. If you ensuring that the rule of law where he has his strength persists, people will do the right thing. The reason people can pick up their phone and call police officer is because they have power and they're demonstrating it, and nobody can penalize them for it. If you try a Councillor Gongo's led government, you lose your job, because you cannot call a police officer to interfere with police activity. You cannot use your influence in a court, because you lose your status or your job in his government. He has demonstrated it in all his limited rules. If we had time, I could tell you, I could single them out for you. Things he did as Justice Ministry in his capacity as Solicitor General, the things he did to transform Liberia in his role at the Labor Ministry when he was Minister of Labor, the things that he did as President for the Liberian National Bar Association when he was there, the 3 years for which the entire bar said, we want you back. But he said he wasn't going to go back because he did not want to violate the Constitution, which says you can only serve for one term of 3 years. But if people saw what he did in all his limited roles, and so they believe that, if this man can accomplish those things in all his limited roles, he can accomplish it for the country. One day when we have the time, I will enumerate them for you so you can see what I see and what other people who are supporting the councillor see. Thank you.
All right. So, Dr. Roberts, this question I will begin with you. From there, Zioga can also come in. Bush Study can also come in on that as well. We have 73 representatives, members of the House of Representatives. Their seats will be vacant comes October 10th. And also we have 15 senators from the 15 sub-political division of our country that will be seeking re-elections. Their seat will also be declared vacant. What is the stand of LPP as it relates to, or is the LPP only concentrating on the presidency?
Well, thanks for the question. And let me inform you that LPP as a political party is eyeing all positions that are available for the coming elections. We have mobilized and reached out to the Liberian people more than any other political party, as I can inform you right now, when it comes to telling them where we are at this state and our ability to do better, to carry out better governance, to involve the people in their own governance. So when it comes to representative position, when it comes to senatorial position, we have mobilized our people, and people are ready to participate in all the elections at every level. And you've been following the news, I know that. Our candidate has been in more counties than any other standard bearer. And for each of those counties, we have people that are prepared and ready to run on the platform of the party at all levels, whether it's representative level or senatorial level.
All right, so we go to Zoga. So can we say, let's say Zoga is also talking to somebody, or Zoga is forced to contesting in district number 3C in Grand Bassa?
How did you come up with that? How did you come up with that? How did you come up with that? You might have had some information before. But that didn't drop. Oh, okay. Zoga at this time is not contesting in that district because he wants to make sure that the councillor gets all the support of his people from that district. But it's a very interesting question, and there are two lines to that. I'll discuss the unfortunate thing first. One other thing is that if the Liberian People's Party, like Chairman said, if all of our representatives take a seat, better for us. If not all of them, then Liberian people, they have to rethink, because this president is one person who will not interfere into the activities of the House of Representatives. But we do pray that this is going to happen, and at that point, you're going to see that there will be a lot of executive order flyings for the benefit of our people. However, we are in constant communication with most of our county leaders, who are gearing out and encouraging most of the competent people from those sections to vote as representatives and senators. The last time I was in Bassa, I had an opportunity to talk to about 2 people who are running within district number 1, 2, and as well as district number 3. They thought I was going back to go run for district number 3, but I gave them the whole.
I just had a powerful guess.
That is too powerful.
That was too powerful, and so they're going to get my support. And in fact, when the standard bearer visited the area, he got the assurance and trust me that whoever runs in that area, that we are encouraging to run in the area on the LPP ticket, will get a win. So yes, we are doing everything possible, because we know that this president is not the president who interferes. The 3 branches of government, as you know, is being formed after the 3 branches of government here in the United States. These are people who work cooperatively, but of no interference. And so that's one thing you're going to respect. So we are exerting all effort. to win the majority. That is our goal. And that is the work we're on right now.
Okay, Mr. Tati, do you want to?
Yes. So I can speak to this. I can speak to this because as part of my function as coordinator, I talk to a lot of people throughout the country. All our coordinators, they keep calling to say they've encountered this person who talked to them. They want to align with the councillor, and they're running for a certain position in a district. And interestingly, most of them, when they come, the first thing they say is because they don't like the way the current legislature is performing. They want a different kind of legislature that will challenge the president, and they know that the councillor is the only candidate in the race they can count on. If there are other candidates in the race who are very receptive to challenge from the legislature, well, they don't know it yet because those candidates have not demonstrated it. But they know that the councillor has demonstrated it over time that he's the kind of person who the legislature can disagree with, who the legislature can, and there won't be any consequences for their actions because they disagree with him or they refuse to pass a bill that he sent to them. So it's interesting to the number of calls we get on a daily basis from different counties and different districts in those counties. People the first thing they tell you is the reason why they want to align with the councillor. It's not just because they're running and they want align with some candidate or some party. No, they give you the specific reason why, and so we that puts us in a position now to even be able to choose among candidates who will represent us in the legislature. So yes, to answer your question in short, yes, we have a lot of people coming on board expressing their interest to participate on the LPP ticket for the legislature, both houses.
All right. So that was very much powerful there, that you guys are looking out to all of the seats within the legislature, which is very much good. That takes me to my next question that has to do with the current state of our infrastructure in the country. The Roberts International Airport, which happen to be the major routes to, let's say, the gateway to our country, when you're coming from out of the country, is terribly bad as we speak. Contracts are being manipulated by people within the establishment. And also, looking at the track records of Councillor Tiawong Gongo, who having to be a human rights lawyer, who having to be someone who stands for the right thing to be done. I mean, do Councillor Gongo sometimes feel discouraged with the level of things that are happening, where especially contracts or roads are being abandoned by this establishment?
Okay, let me jump in with that infrastructure area. This is exactly what we are here for. We want a leader with probity. I don't know if we want to use the word with integrity, but I want to say we want a leader with probity. And we want a leader who does not have any interference into the other branches of government, do the work cooperatively. Regards to the Arawafi Kakata Highway, it is now and will be a complete failure. Guess what? The parliament signed this contract without the participation of the technical arm of the country and sent it out. That's number one. Sign the contract, prepare the contract, and sign it without the consultation of the technical arm of the country. sign a contract without investigating whether the contractor has the financial capacity to construct this road, signs the contract with interference. I mean, sign the contract with maybe what sometimes we call in like broken who know you. Now, the contract is at a point where the man who signs the contract, the contractor, has no more funds. They don't even have money. They don't even have anywhere that has been identified by Parliament or by the House that these people were capable to conduct the work. You see, so it is a failure. It has failed completely, and probably the next government will be the one to make sure that that road is completed. And so it frustrates the standard bearer of the Liberian People's Party. And these are one of the reasons, these are the grounds on which, these are one of the reasons, since he loved the country, to say, well, I want to make sure that in our 10-point agenda, if you look there, we also talk about infrastructure. That is, he also talked about agriculture. And if you want to be successful in making your country to be food sufficient, you must have all of the roads to be done, especially feeder road. So in as much as we want to make the country to be food sufficient, he is also eyeing, and he's also interested in roads being constructed from the beginning to the end. So yes, it troubled us. And this is the condition. And our road, in fact, has already failed. The minister of Public Works alluded to that when she appeared before the House of Senate. She alluded to that. And she told that in the face of the House of Senate, that they signed a contract without the Ministry of Public Works, the technical arm established by rules, established by laws from the House of Representatives, without consulting them. So yes, it is.
I mean, like, trouble. Okay. Do anyone want to come in?
Yeah, let me
Okay,
come.
after him.
You know, you talk about the Rowfield Monrovia Highway, and it brings to mind my experience in 2019 when I arrived at the airport to come back to the United States, and while the plane was leaving Sierra Leone, the light at the airport went off. So the plane has to turn around and go back to Sierra Leone while we waited until around 12 midnight, and we were told to stand by. And the plane was not coming back just the next day until the following day. So we were kind of camped at the airport. So look, the airport is one of the major entry points of a country. And when you talk about development that I mentioned earlier, those are infrastructure that you consider first because they have the ability to generate money. Right now, Liberia's gross domestic product for 2022, as reported, is about 3.5 billion. And gross domestic product means the cost of all the resources within a country within a year. If you calculate everything, all the natural resources and everything put together that we sold on the national and international market, amounted to $3.something billion. Where does the money go? So we have to look ahead of us, look back, and determine where do we want to go. Do we still want to have a bunch of people who don't have any idea but pocketing the country's money, or we want to bring in a more serious government that is going to change the trajectory of this very poor nation with all the resources? We need to ask
Dr. Roberts, there are pundits of this government or supporters of Mr. Weah or other people who says Mr. Weah have done a lot than previous government.
Yeah,
the name, construction of roads,
Right.
Building affordable homes and the rest of it.
Yeah,
Are they now a progress?
No. Let us not go there, and I can even encourage you to bring one of those ponies to explain to us where the money came from that George Weah used to build infrastructure in Liberia. First of all, there were money appropriated by the early government, and the World Bank is one of those that contributed to that money. The European Union is one of the groups that contributed. The Liberian government is supposed to put in certain amount. Those money that were appropriated were for roads and other infrastructure, including the airport in Liberia. That is why the pundits don't know. That the money was in a bank because George Weah and his group of people wanted to take away those money that were meant for development or infrastructure. They decided to initiate these projects without considering the due process. All right? The money were already in a bank. But these guys, because they wanted to have access to it, so they decided to initiate the project one after another. And this is why Tue, who is the finance minister, called close hole, open hole. He didn't have any economic theory to follow. But he said if money is allocated for roads, he's going to take it and use it for building their homes, and that means he's closing another hole to open another hole. So pundits,
I remember he said dig hole, cover hole.
Dig hole, cover hole. So the dig hole, cover hole mentality is total chaos and underdevelopment. That is what brings us to where we are today. So they don't understand it. They don't understand what a proper plan should be. But they heard it, and it was projected by the World Bank in East Africa. Therefore, they thought it's something to follow. But their policies do not speak to the issue of being there for the poor people. So consider the projects that have been carried out. They wanted to have access to the money that were appropriated by the World Bank, the Liberian government, and the EU. Therefore, they had to carry. That's why they decided to carry out these projects. The first public rep minister, the late Mobutu Nyepa, according to information, he was not satisfied with the kind of withdrawal they were doing in the name of carrying out projects to build these infrastructures. And that was one point of departure. All of them. So right now, Samuel Toa and his whole group, their economic agenda is completely against development. They rather want to build houses in different countries. They rather want to establish businesses in different countries and leave the country empty. And therefore, we need a more serious government that will be led by a man of law and order, a man of integrity, like I won't say Gonglo. Other than that, we're going to continue to go down this road. And I again appeal to you, if you can pinpoint any of these ponies, let it come here so we can debate the source or the sources of the money that they are plundering and thinking that they're building infrastructure.
All right, that leads me to my next question. That is peace and security.
Can I come in before you go to the next question?
Okay, yes, no problem, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, let me just come in briefly. Talking about that road, you see Councillor Gonglo's, that road on that highway, Councillor Gonglo lives right there along that highway, Boys Town. Councillor Gonglo knows the danger of that road and the kind of traffic it generates. So, and you know that at the same time, he's been a human rights lawyer for so many years. He sees human rights abuse in so many different ways that we don't even see it. As far as he's concerned, that road putting Liberians at the risk, risking their lives. That's a human rights abuse, and he will definitely address it like he addresses all other human rights abuses. A typical example: I'll go back to the time he was at Justice Ministry. The first day he walked into that ministry, he shut down the underground cell that was there, even though that cell protected whatever government was in power, because that's where they could put opposition journalists and opposition politicians and journalists who speak ills against government or talk about the government ills against the people. That's where they put them, because when they in that underground cell at the Justice Ministry, you can violate their rights for more than 48 hours without charging them. So the first day he got there, even though he worked in the government, he shut it down because he saw it as human rights abuse. The other thing he addressed was when he was Solicitor General and he went around the country and people told him that they were in jail for different reasons. He came back. Those reasons didn't make sense to him. He came back and talked to the President Sharif. He said, look, this is human rights abuse. When you have people in power who are deciding other people's fate and they don't know the law. So what did he do? As a transformational leader, he didn't just give it to the government to say the government will find money to address it, because he knew the government did not have money to address it. He went to all mills, provided a proposal to them, which they accepted to provide funding for 6 months. He used that money to provide $1,200 per any law school graduate who would take a job as Attorney General of country, because all the Attorney Generals of countries were either barely high school graduates. Nobody was law school graduate. He provided 2 cabin pickup for them, $1,200 pay, a monthly pay, a generator, and a laptop. And law school graduates were eager to take those jobs. Today, he left that position a long time ago. Today, every county in Liberia still has a law school graduate as Attorney General. That role you see...
County Anthony.
Yeah, County Attorney. Yes. Mm-hmm. That role you see, Councillor Gonglo has to leave his house early every morning because, one, he doesn't believe that he doesn't believe in people riding on the side of the road looking for any kind of way to, boycott the traffic. He knows that he has enough recognition and power to go on the side of the road. Any policeman pull him over, he will still release him to keep going. But he doesn't do that. He leaves his house like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. He goes all the way to town. Sometimes he go to maybe Mama Point Hotel or somewhere to sit down and be doing some work until it's time for him to start work. Then he goes to his office. Even though he works for himself, he wants to be there on time every day. So he will see that road as a human rights abuse because it's affecting people's lives. And that will be one of the things that he will address. I knew that road was going to be a problem, not the road particularly, but I knew we were going to have problems like these, including that road. From the minute they moved, they replaced the PPCC boss when his tenure expired. Councillor Gonglo is not the only high-level integrity person in Liberia. Though there are few, but you can identify some others. Ellen Johnson appointed one Double Jala as PPCC boss. Double Jala has very high integrity, as high as Councillor Gonglo. The minute they removed him from that position, that PPCC boss position, I knew they were heading for trouble. And that's how you see that role got given to the wrong company. That would never have happened if President Double Jala was still PPCC boss. So we know that Councillor Gonglo will put people in positions who can perform like him. And he'll always try to get the right things done. And so that role wouldn't be an issue for him. But right now, it's horrible. And he will see it as a human rights abuse, the government putting people's lives at risk. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So that takes me to my next round of questions just before this will be just before I because I had to run. So we look at peace and security. Recently, we see the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, Her Honor Gloria Musu-Scott, whom were vandalized the first time. The second time, in fact, death occurred. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, let me bring you to the point of looking at it from a total collapse of the justice system, a total collapse of governance, a total collapse of a nation that was once considered the beacon of Africa. Currently, Justice Mususka's daughter's death, it just brings to the fore what have existed and what is going to come. But consider the number of people that have been killed, like the EPS guy, Alexei. We were told that Alexei shot himself in the head, from the back of the head with a pistol 3 times. Very mysterious circumstances that no forensic doctor will tell you that it's possible that a man, instead of shooting himself from the forehead, is shooting himself from the back of the head 3 times. And that is not the only case. My colleague Bush Tade mentioned something about the $16 billion. What happened to people that were associated with it? Koli Bala, Matthew Innes, and others. The death of the auditors, Abbott, Gifty, George Fambutu, Emmanuel Yensua. So the Liberian people currently live in a state of fear. They need to understand that when chaos descends on a nation, it goes in any other direction. What a peaceful direction, what a conflict, I mean, anything can happen. This is why LPP thinks it is time that the international community pays more attention to that country. What happened in 1990 or 1989? It did not just start in 1989. It started long years ago before it came to a head. What is happening now needs more attention. And it needs the attention of the Liberian people to make a decision now to elect someone that has a high degree of integrity that will turn this country around. This killing spree cannot continue. Believe me. This is why it leads to conflict. No one going to say for his relatives and other people to be murdered. William Talbot, John Hillary Tubman, all these guys died under mysterious circumstances. Why? No government can answer. No investigation has been made. Alfred Donald, the logistics guy from Grand Judea County, he also died under mysterious circumstances. And is it okay that there is no investigation? Is it okay that no one knows what happens to all these people? You just mentioned Justice Scar's home was invaded 2 times. No security was provided, no investigation. By the 3rd time, her daughter was killed. Liberia, we have to watch out. The time is now that we added, and the elections that is coming is the decider. If you make the wrong decision to allow the murderers and the corrupt government officials to stay in power, you are inviting an uncertain future for yourself. Thank you.
Okay, if you are just tuning in, this is the Dakmana Show, the nation's premier platform, where we discuss the issues that matter most to Liberia, everything Liberia and Liberian related. I'm here, the indefatigable perspicacious Dakmana, and Mr. Papi Xavier Cuddy. We are in conversation with folks from the Liberian People's Party of the Adora Lawyer Council of Tiawan Gonglo. Tiawan say Gonglo. Now, I want us to look at preparation. How prepared is the LPP when it comes to getting involved with the campaign and getting the needed vote to see to it that Councillor Gonglo is Liberia's next president?
I can come in there.
Go ahead.
Well, Councillor Gonglo is poised to become Liberia's next president. And I wouldn't put it at 100%. I'll put it to somewhere around 65% right now that Councillor Gonglo is very, very poised to become Liberia's next president, because the good thing is Councillor Gonglo is an underdog, so nobody positions him on the strata when they're looking at who's who in the elections. He's never participated in any elections before, so this being his first elections, people don't have any numbers to associate with him. Especially, people look at your numbers when they see how prolific your campaign is in Monrovia or Montserrado County. Councillor Gonglo has not even campaigned in Montserrado County yet. So what Councillor Gonglo is doing right now is playing his underdog card, utilizing the time to play for his ground game, to focus on the counties outside Montserrado and Margibi. Those counties are hard to get to counties. Councillor Gonglo is solidifying himself in all of these counties, and it's good thing that people not aware of what's going on in his campaign, which is good for his campaign, because there are no eyes on his campaign right now. People are more or less one another, and we're happy for that. CDC's strategy is to go after Joseph Boakai, who is more or less the leading candidate based on the figures from the last elections. If they're not going after him, they're going after Alexander Cummings, who comes, of all the people that voted, he comes next because some of the other people are out of the race. So it's a good thing that they're focusing on one another. They're directing their fights against each other, while Councillor Gonglo is smooth sailing. Nobody targeting targeting the LPP. Nobody targeting Councillor Gonglo. So right now, as I speak to you, Councillor Gonglo is storming the southeast. I know you won't, because you probably got enough time to focus on the campaign that profess to be in the lead. But if you were to follow Councillor Gonglo's campaign, his movements, you will see how he's storming the southeast. He's been to, in the last couple of days, he's been to River G. He's been to Maryland. He's on his way to Sino today. And you should have seen his previous videos from the southwest, from Cape Mount, bombing in Bapolu. All those numbers have indicated a whole lot that's propelling the campaign. So we now know that's why we're so energized, because we know that by the time Councillor Gonglo turns his attention to Monrovia or to Montserrado and Margibi, where he's been practicing law for the last 34 years, he's been recognized as the one-man army, ECOMOG army, because, and I say that because people may not notice, but Councillor Gonglo has prevented a lot of chaotic situations from escalating, because he always steps in at the right time. When the national police go to arrest a situation that's happening, you see they will sometimes arrest people and take them to jail, and the group that is affected, whose member they take to jail, they will go storm the police station, stand around there, and if you give that number, you guys change, that number will keep building. Our police force is not large. They could overpower the police and go in there, but Councillor Gonglo always steps in. He goes to and all the police people recognize him and they respect him, because they see him as their instructor. You know, he provides free service at the police academy, so he trains for everything that comes in perspective of the law and policing. So he goes to the academy where he volunteers free of charge service to teach from the IG down to the traffic man. So when he goes to the police station, he's well recognized. So it's easy for him to get victims out of there and bring them to those people who are outside ready to storm the police station if the police cannot release the person. And Councillor Gonglo is aware that these people is not at their own fault that they're put in jail or they're doing the things that they're doing. So when they go to court, he goes to, if they don't have money, he goes there and represent them. So all these things that he has been doing has aided him, has gained for him the recognition and reputation he has in Montserrat. He hasn't capitalized on any of that yet. So it's very strategic that Montserrat and Margibi are push last on his campaign trail, because by the time he hits Montserrat and Margibi, you will be telling me about Councillor Gonglo's campaign and not be asking me anymore. So just take it from me. Pretty soon you'll be storming Montserrat and Margibi. Then people will know what he's been doing. But until then, we're playing our underdog card, which is working perfectly for the campaign. Thank you.
We are prepared. The Liberian People's Party is prepared. Councillor Gonglo is prepared to win the election based on these facts. The Liberian People's Party is the only political party right now that has a platform. The Liberian People's Party is the only political party now can explain to the Liberian people what she's going to do and how she's going to perform that. Now, that's why you see the standard bearer is all over in these sub-regions. When he gets there, he tells the people that, look, the old folks from age 65 all the way up, we're going to have free health in all public hospitals. It resonates with the people. It resonates with the old people. Now, this is the time that they have no strength anymore to work. They have no money to go to the hospital, but they need to live. Let's look at women. He talks about women who are pregnant and don't have the means to go to the hospital. He says, look, on a mind administration, pregnant women will go to public hospital for free. Children between the ages of 0 and 5 will have free medical care in the public hospital. This resonates with the people. And that's why when he is in any region outside of Monrovia, watch our videos. You see how encouraging, how these people follow him. Let's go to education. The Gonglo-led government will rehabilitate what we refer to as the Zogo, but the unfortunate ones, all right? They will be trained, they will be rehabilitated and brought back into the society so that they can be able to have a better life. It resonates with them. When Councillor Gonglo is in Monrovia, people say, oh, he's around the Zogo. Yes, because he's giving them hope. Nobody gave them hope. No government has given them hope. Even the very government that we have, don't give, but instead use them to commit crime. And these people are tired of committing crimes. Let's look at agriculture. He's trying to say, look, we have the military since 1847. We have now gone to major war. We're going to declare war against hunger. And you have the agriculture department. These people are willing to work for the Liberian people. They are willing to produce, rest on the 1,500 acres of land, which is proposed in our agenda in each county to create a mechanized farming. This resonates with the people. Yeah, the Liberian people, they are prepared to vote one time, Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, and then look at rule of law. Of course, you cannot dispute it. Of course, you cannot argue this with Councillor Gonglo because he's a poor man's lawyer. My colleague just He just alluded to that. You cannot argue with the rule of law when Councillor Gonglo said, well, I'm going to make sure that rule of law exists in the country. No Liberian. Even the very president cannot argue this. Even the chairman of the Congress for Democratic Change cannot argue this because he's one person who was freed under the pro bono lawyership of Councillor Tiawan Gonglo. So there is no Liberian that can dispute that he is able to instill, that he's able to make, his government is able to put forth rule of law. So we are prepared. The Liberian people love Councillor Gonglo because of his word. If you go into the street of Monrovia, the very opposition or partisan will tell you he's a good man. So we are prepared. He's prepared to win the election.
Okay. I'm one of those Liberians who follow the political happenings in the country. And we all know that in this country that we are, opinion polls is very relevant in elections. And we follow opinion polls being done in Liberia, even in Nimba, where Councillor Gonglo is from. He don't get the vote. People don't nominate him. People don't vote in his favor or don't select him. So how can you convince me that you guys are fully prepared? Councillor Gonglo will win on a one round 75%. How is that possible when he is not being talked about by the voters or the electors?
Well, I'm not sure which opinion poll you are referring to, but what I can remember and credit and confirm your information was sometime May of last year when there was an opinion poll conducted, and yes, indeed, he came forth after the next three. I don't know which one you're talking about. If you're talking about most recent opinion poll, then I doubt that. Then I doubt it.
Okay, all right. Let me come in here to inform you, Dakmana, that there will be several opinion polls, and there have been several, and numbers don't totally lie. So I agree with you partly, but if you consider all the political parties right now, you look at the strategies they have. Let me review just a little bit of our strategies to you. You see that we have not started from the cities or not started from Monrovia. We rather went back into the interior, where we have the Liberian people well concentrated. We went back to the real Liberia. That is the people in the villages who really feel the pain of our misbehavior in Monrovia. To start out with them, to start talking to them. At the time we started, there was a pool that showed that the people don't know who the Councillor Gonglo is. That is a fact, because we started a process that was aimed at setting a foundation for a more organized campaign. And this is where we are today. If any opinion poll comes out today, Councillor Gonglo is going to be either in the first place or the second place. And this is a reason. All other campaigns are focused on the very population area or the very populated areas right now. They focus on Monrovia. They focus on Nimba County that you talked about. They focus on Lofa County. They focus on Bong. We are looking at those counties like River says. Right now, our candidate is in Maryland. He passed through Grand Gita. He passed through the Nimba. And he's not going to big towns per se. He's going to villages. He's going to what is referred to as the grassroots. It is a grassroots that our party began working with in the 70s. The movement for justice in Africa was also around, mobilizing people to know their rights. We also have Susuku, Today, the Liberian People Party is an embodiment of the ideology that all the organizations espouse. Right now, where we are on top of the pool. If a pool is conducted today, this is how far we have come. I don't want to tell you all our strategies here because we know that we're in a competition, but we have differentiated ourselves by going to the grassroots. And so the figures that you saw then might have changed tremendously, and we hope to further change it to the extent that we're going to be number one before the real campaign commences in Liberia.
Okay. Elections.
So just to add to, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, make an add, and then I will come on my
Yeah,
next
to
one.
add to that, let me say that I'm aware of the polls you're talking about. Those are polls that were taken initially when the whole thing was announced that elections will be coming about and all like that. So those polls were taken at the time. Councillor Gonglo has just announced that he was going to participate in the race. So people didn't even, some people had not even heard the announcement. So you couldn't have expected him to show up on the ballot and to have, votes on the ballot. But since then, Councillor Gonglo has gotten actively involved now with campaigning, because campaign hasn't started yet, but with going around to actually meet people and just tell them that what to expect, what his interest is and all like that, that he's interested, and so they can know him. You haven't taken different polls in those areas yet. The only one I recall that was done was in Nimba when the CDC went there to have a program, and they carried one or two media personnel with them, and those guys conducted a poll while they were there, right in the area they were in. But they were in a CDC environment. That's why the other talk shows and TV shows had a problem with it. They said, "Oh, how come the guys conducting poll and nobody knows about it?" And they didn't even go to, do a random sample. They just conducted poll right in that area they were in. So hardly the other candidates, including including Councillor Gonglo, hardly got any votes on it. Now, try doing a polls now in the different counties that he visited. Like I told you earlier, he hasn't even introduced himself properly in Monrovia, Montserrado, and Margibi yet. So of course, other polls you've done maybe some time ago were in Montserrado. Yes, you don't expect him to shine in Montserrado yet because he hasn't turned his attention to Montserrado. He's been taking care of those areas outside there. And the two things that propel him to be in this race are the two things that will really take him to the presidency. One of them happens to be the appeal from the elders. As you may be aware that Councillor Gonglo, right now, he still calls himself a project coordinator because he had no intention of leaving his law practice to go to become a politician, to go run for presidential office. But circumstances forced him to do so. He's represented so many people during the series of mysterious deaths, and he wasn't getting any conclusion to those cases. So he had to look for alternative means of getting closure for families. Now, even at that, he still wasn't too sure until the elders from Bon County, decided that they wanted him. They approached the elders of Nimba because they know that where his father is from. They approached the elders of Nimba, and those two groups of elders from the two counties came together and talked to him. And Councillor Gonglo, looking at his age and all of that, he said, if I turn this down, maybe with the next time I will have an opportunity to serve my country. I might be too old and I don't have the kind of energy I have now. So maybe it's time to join in the race. And the thing that really encouraged him to actually arrive at that conclusion is, if you heard about the Emmanuel Toulos case, the kid who found the $50,000. The fact that people appreciated that kid and celebrated him, including the corrupt government, they celebrated that kid. Councillor Gongo said, "Oh wow, that means Liberians appreciate integrity now. Liberians have demonstrated that for once they can appreciate integrity, they can appreciate honesty. Maybe it's time for me to get in a race. Now they can appreciate a person like me because the integrity level is very high. Earlier in the night, it would have been a waste of his time to participate in a race because people wouldn't vote for him because they didn't care about integrity, they didn't care about honesty, they just care about what you gave them at the time you're asking them to vote for you. So it's going to be different now. So I challenge you to take a poll, not in Monserrate yet, not in Margibi yet, because he hasn't touched those two areas, but take a poll anywhere else in the country and see what happens, the results you get. Thank you.
Okay, as we gradually wind down on this conversation, I really don't know why we didn't get Dada Doe to come back. Yeah, but anyway, elections has to do with money. For you to run campaign, you need to be financially equipped, financially strong. How prepared are you financially when it comes to this election?
All right, you hear me smiling because my man Bush is here. He's going to tell us about so we defer that to him. So Bush going to kick out the ball.
Yeah, so let me tell you, initially that was our problem too. We because Councillor Gonglo, even though he's known as a poor man lawyer, it doesn't mean that he's poor. It means that he represents poor people.
Poor people, yeah.
Yeah, but the money that Councillor Gonglo is not the kind of person who goes after money or things that can bring money. No. So he's not a rich man, but he's wealthy enough to take care of himself and his family. So we don't expect the money, his personal funds, to be able to run a campaign. No, it cannot. But you see, honesty and integrity, it really pays because we thought that Councillor Gonglo not having money and the LPP hasn't been functional for a while until they saw that they have the right candidate before they started to make a comeback. You don't expect them to magically produce money from anywhere. We decided to test the process and see how Councillor Gonglo can fare in this process that requires a lot of that is capital intensive. So what did we do? We put the information out there and we said, okay, Liberians are struggling at home because the government it has become the largest employer, and the only people who get employment in Liberia are seditious. So a lot of people won't have money to spend on Councillor Gonglo's campaign. Yeah, so we turn to Liberians in the diaspora, and that has been working surprisingly so well, because Councillor Gonglo came to the United States with the plan to attend one or two programs where we're going to raise money. He was going to go back and utilize that funds to start running the campaign. But even on his first trip, people were calling him all over the United States. Oh, Councillor Gonglo, we have the union race. Thank God we finally got somebody who we can compare to our Gerald Rawlings. We got somebody now who can compare to Seretse Khama of Botswana. We got somebody now who we can compare to Paul Kagame of Rwanda. We got somebody who we can compare to Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. Now we have our own. We have somebody who we know can turn the country around. Councillor Gonglo, please come to this state so we can raise money. And that's how Councillor Gonglo has been raising funds. Liberians in so many states have been raising money and propelling this campaign to the point where that we don't even recognize that we had money issues before, and for that reason, we know that the future of this campaign is bright. Even as I speak to you, Councillor Gonglo is preparing again. This time it's the folks in Europe asking him to please come. They've already offered to buy tickets for him to come so they can raise money for him in Switzerland. Then they're taking him to Belgium and other places where they've designed programs to raise a lot of money for him. So, and then from there, he's coming back to the U.S. Because he was supposed to go back to Liberia from there. But then folks in the U.S. say, oh, Councillor Gonglo never visited us too. And we have a lot of people here who support and want to raise money. Can he come talk to us? And that's how it's been. So sometimes Councillor Gonglo hardly knows his own schedule. I'm his special assistant. I hardly keep up with some of the schedule sometimes because on the every day people calling him to please come here, please come there. We want to raise money for you. And he's so media friendly that throughout the day, all the media, the different media outlets invited him to come on the show, and he doesn't say no to anybody. I'm so happy that Councillor Gonglo is so fit and hardworking. This man doesn't get sick. This man exercises more than the young people in his area. He trains them. So we know we got this is God's gift to Liberia, and we have to embrace it. This is God's gift to Liberia. We finally have somebody who can turn the country around, like it's happening for Singapore, like it's happening for Rwanda, like it's happening for Botswana, like it's happening for Ghana and Burkina Faso, all the places. Now we have our opportunity.
All right. So let me just come in here, and we all are aware that elections is about numbers, and when it comes to money, no matter how rich a candidate is, you still need the people because election is about the people. You, unlike any other candidate, I can tell you right now that Gonglo has one of the largest following when it comes to various movements. We have various groups in all the regions in the United States, from the Friends of Gonglo. You have them in all states right now as I'm speaking to you. You also have few super PACs. So a lot of movements have been created. And some of these movements have evolved to the point where they have the ability to raise money in a very short period. The super PACs are also working. They mobilize a lot of people, and they fashion themselves after the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the way they raise money and all that. So we are poised to reach a level that will be able to adequately fund this campaign. This is where we are. Ask anybody when it comes to movements around United States, you're going to hear about Friends of Gonglo, you hear women groups, you're going to hear one name called the Hawa movement. So
Liberian United for Gonglo.
Okay, so there's a lot even in Europe, in Liberia. Let me bring you to speed. Almost in all the counties, you now have clubs that support Gonglo. So we are just well prepared and well organized to be able to fund this campaign. Whether Gonglo has money in your pocket or not, that is not the issue. The campaign is about the people. And the people should take the baton and run with it in supporting this campaign in order to achieve the goals that we have set. And that is where we are, and that is where we are heading. And before the campaign starts, as I'm telling you right now, our candidate is all over the country. It is the movements, the people that are supporting all the trips that he's making. So yeah, we're getting there financially, and we're going to be a group to contend with, and we are well prepared to take over the governance of this country that is currently in total chaos. Thank you.
Okay, when do we expect to see Councillor Gonglo naming his national campaign team? Because from the name of the national campaign team, we'll be able to scrutinize those that will be named. So when do we expect him to name his national campaign team?
Before I come to that campaign team, let me tell you one thing. Unlike other political parties, LPP, Gonglo, we have a plan. And that plan is called a platform.
Okay.
So we, in the next few weeks, we'll bring you the platform, which is a roadmap that is going to tell you, hey, this is where we are heading. This is how we're going to run this country. These are the issues we're going to focus on in order to begin to look at all the factors of production, those things that will help every one of us to raise money and build infrastructure. So that is the first thing. The second thing is the issue of a campaign team. The campaign for LPP, we're going through a lot of stages. We started first put committees in place. Various committees. These various committees have worked, and we reached a stage where from these committees we bring together a group that is called the campaign team. So right now there is a campaign manager that you're going to know the name pretty soon and later on, and all those teams that have been working around the clock, things on education, on agriculture, on the economy, and every other thing is coming together to be a total and full campaign team that will handle day-to-day activities. They have been operating in the shadows, but the time is come that all of them will come to the fore, that everyone will know. But actually, we have reached this far because we are organized and do have a shadow campaign team that is running. And the chairman, the chairman of the party, along with the standard bearer, have reached the point where the standard bearer will come out to announce the campaign team, appoint the right kind of person. My colleague Tade is here, and he's going to speak to that to you regarding why we have not come out to announce our campaign team yet.
So let me take off from there and address the question you asked, Ms. Dakon. First of all, you agree with me that the campaign has not started yet. Campaign doesn't start till September, August or September, somewhere there. So, Councillor Gonglo, knowing that the LPP party is an all-inclusive party, they want to make sure that everybody is involved with the process. You also agree with me that Councillor Gonglo has not taken part, unlike his competitors, he has not taken part in any earlier election here in Liberia. So those other parties have an edge when it comes to knowing who their members are all over the country. And so Councillor Gonglo needed that time to get to know who his people are and get to know who are those that will get to know that he's participating in the elections and generate interest in his campaign. So now that he has toured the country, he's doing the last set of the tours for the upcountry areas, for the counties outside Montserrado. When he comes back to Montserrado now, he will have known all the actors and different players in the different counties, and he has an entourage that go with him. They're taking note of everything that's happening in all the counties, all the key players that are involved. When he comes to, as for Montserrado, he's already been here. He already knows the people here because this is where everything culminates. So when he comes back, hopefully, he might decide to name his campaign team before he tours Montserrado, or maybe he will just say, for total inclusion's sake, he might want to conclude his tour of Montserrado and Margibi, then name his campaign team. So he's not in any rush to do that because he doesn't want to do it immaturely. He wants to make sure he's aware of, where we are all over the country. Then we know who to participate in certain roles. So you get an answer to your question pretty soon.
Okay. So, what is the role of LPP's former Senate bearer in all of this? I'm talking about HB. He contested on the LPP's ticket 2017. What is the role? I'm not hearing him talking. I'm not hearing you guys talking about him. Is he a part of the LPP? Is he part of the strategies as it relates to Councilor Gonglo election as Liberia president, or is he out of the way? Where is he in all of this?
Well, you know, LPP has a long line of leadership. LPP has its founders, and most of them are still around. Some have already gone. May their souls rest in peace. We currently have LPP immediate past leadership that are also on board with the Gonglo movement, as I call it, or the effort to elect Councilor Gonglo. We do have HB and other people that are members of the party. They have been briefed and they are on board when it comes to supporting the councillor. One thing about the election is that everyone cannot be at the forefront when it comes to propagating the views of the candidate and all that. But when it comes to organization, we are a party that operate at various levels. We have the senior level, we have the middle management level, and we have the foot soldiers that carry out the work of the party. So right now, yes, everyone is on board. We do have one of the founders and senior comrade, Dusty Wolokoli, who has been traveling with.
Yeah, that's the reason why I asked, because I normally hear Dusty Wolokoli, I normally hear John Stewart, but I don't hear HB.
And you will also hear our party leader Yankwe Zeze and all the guys they plan and run with him. HB, to inform me, he's currently living in Ghana. Okay. Yeah, he's not stationed in Liberia. He sometimes he comes to Liberia, but he goes back to Ghana. And there are a lot of our partisans that are currently doing the planning, the background planning, and doing the groundwork. And most of the young, go ahead.
Have you guys gotten that the Topana Tipote Umbo?
Of course. The old man is one of those that comes to the meetings before most of the other guys. So he's straightly on board, and he's been working with the standard bearer. And you also know that the Tipote was the leader of the movement of justice in Africa, and at a certain point it was turned over to our current standard bearer, Gonglo, who is currently heading the movement of justice in Africa. So he's very close to Tipote, and Tipote has been around, and he's also working with them.
Okay, so we are. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to add, yes, of course, the campaign, the intent to run is still young, so we're still far away from campaign. So certain people giving support from the background, but you're not hearing their names. Others are still making their way to come to join the campaign. So LPP has had a lot of members along the line. So some names you won't hear yet because they're probably out of the country and they're still working their way to come back to get actively involved. Like you rightly said, you haven't been hearing HB family. I'm sure you haven't been hearing about Jude Mason. I'm sure
Yes.
when the papers reported the other day that Councillor Gonglo had gone to visit Honorable Joseph Boyka in the hospital, I'm sure they didn't mention that he was in the hospital with Dr. Tipote. The two of them were there together and spent over an hour and 20 minutes with the VP. But they didn't mention that. So you won't know about these people because they're not in the limelight yet, but they still believe in the struggle to get Liberia from where it is to where it really needs to be. So they're there. They're coming on board. Some of them are already on board. They've worked out the situations where they were probably busy here and there, and they found time now to participate in the upcoming elections. So yeah, a lot of names are being revealed, and you're gonna keep, if you know all the previous members, you're gonna keep saying, "Oh, the person back, that person back," and pretty soon that's where it's gonna be.
Okay. So, God forbid excuse that we can say in Liberia. So, in case if Councillor Gonglo is rejected by Liberian people, what will become of Councillor Gonglo and the LPP?
That's an interesting question, Dapona. Look,
Well, I say God forbid excuse.
yeah, no, but I mean, when you in a fight, one of the first things that takes you into that fight is a belief that you are the strongest. Is a belief that you have all the strategies to be able to knock out your opponent. Now, you also aware that Councillor Gonglo has played a very important role in Liberia even before the war. During the war, and when he even fled the country, came to the States to go to school, and he got admission and everything, and then he left the school and went back to Liberia to be special assistant to the late Dr. Amos Sawyer. You would realize that every important project that a man takes upon, he gets in it with all the commitment in order to succeed. So right now where we are, there's no reason to believe that Councillor Gonglo is not going to be elected president of the Republic of Liberia. But I understand you say, well, God forbid, okay, everything is in the hands of God. Now, beyond the presidency of Liberia, LPP is a progressive party that is in the position to stand on higher ground when it comes to helping the Liberian people to understand their rights, helping the Liberian people to know that Liberia is not a real poor country as people think it is, but it is because people are corrupt. It is because people don't have the ability to manage our resources. And this, if you check with the World Bank, if you check with USAID, if you check with the European Union, all their reports will point out that, look, it is because of poverty. Poverty exists because of mismanagement, it's because of corruption. So Councillor Gonglo is committed to Liberia. Our party is what is referred to as pro Dio et Patra, for God and country. So today, God forbid, as we said, if our party is not preferred by the Liberian people, we will continue to work on an agenda that will uplift the people, that will be able to set a higher standards of living as we did in the 70s and 80s, and also ensure that the people have a higher quality of life. And this is what we are lacking. If you travel in Liberia right now, I don't know when last you ever went there, but our grandparents and parents' standard of living and quality of life were far higher than what pertains in the country right now. People living abject poverty. Those infrastructures that were there long time ago have broken down. Schools are no more what they used to be. Children carry benches to school to sit down. When we went to school, we had what I refer to as care food. And we used to eat the care food, go back to class, have fun, or sometimes sleep and all that. Today, you hardly find no kind of system in existence. So the party has a lot of work to do. And especially if we come to power, we will be able to carry the country to a higher height when it comes to the involvement of the ordinary people, when it comes to improving the standard of living and the quality of life. That is what our candidate is all about. So a revolution has begun, not just in Liberia, but in the diaspora. That is why you have all the people joining the various super PACs. That is why you have all the Friends of Gonglo, Minnesota, Friends of Gonglo in Philadelphia, Friends of Gonglo in California, and they're all over the place. So this revolution is not going to end with the elections. We're going to go beyond the elections. We're going to ensure that if anyone that comes to power is going to do the right thing. The fight has started. It's not going to stop. And our candidate is going to win. We are 100% sure because of the quality of leadership and integrity that we have exhibited over the years.
All right. So let me answer your question too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you wanted to know what will happen to Councillor Gonglo and the LPP if he's, God forbid, rejected by the Liberian people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can count on Councillor Gonglo. If you can count on him for anything other than his integrity, you can count on him for his consistency. Councillor Gonglo has been an LPP member from the start. He didn't just join LPP later on. He's an LPP member from the very start. The only time that Councillor Gonglo even supported another candidate from another party was when the LPP got suspended by Samuel Doe, and Councillor Gonglo and the LPP agreed as a party to throw their weight behind Honorable Jackson F. Doe. That's when he supported another candidate from a different party, from the LAP. But he never joined the LAP, even though he supported the candidate that LAP put up because his party was suspended. And then remember, he got appointed by the president who Ellen Johnson wasn't originally from the United Party, but the United Party didn't have a candidate, and they asked her to become their candidate. That's how she went to the United Party. He didn't join her party. She came in. He didn't join the United Party. He worked in the United Party government as a Solicitor General. He worked in the United Party government as a minister. He never joined them. When he left the position because of policy differences with the president, he didn't go join another party. His party was more or less inactive, but he stayed and waited for the appropriate time. And so here comes the time, and Councillor Gonglo shows up with his party. And you said God forbid, because Councillor Gonglo is definitely going to win this election. There are so many things that are pointing in that direction. I'm willing to tell it to you off camera because I wouldn't want other people to see what's working out for us and try to jeopardize it.
Don't disclose the strategy.
Every day is becoming clearer and clearer to us because we know that where the trend is leading. So, like I say again, it's good you say God forbid, but the Liberian people are not going to reject Councillor Gonglo. And so he will have no problem, about what to do with the LPP. But besides, you can count on his consistency. Thank you.
Okay. You wanted to come in too? I thought someone else wanted to come in.
Yes, I wanted to come in, but you can go out with the next question because my colleague have all answered the questions because
okay.
LPP has been in existence from the 80s up to including today, and none of the members have changed their mind to switch from one party to another. So whether or not we win the elections, which is God forbid, the party still remain. It is an organization. It remains, and it's going to still make sure that it foster hard work to make sure that the Liberian people get the true democracy that they are enjoying today from the work of the Liberian People's Party. What we see today in Liberia was not just, it didn't just come up by magic. They were all work of the Liberian People's Party, the progressive, that got the Liberian people to enjoy politics today in the Republic of Liberia. So whether or not we win the elections, of course, God forbid, the institution still stands. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I want to appreciate you guys for reaching out to appear on the Dakwana Show, the nation's premier platform. I'm excited that you guys could recognize us. It proves to me that you guys are people who cut across. You don't look down on people because, as I always say, yeah, we doing what we can do for our country in our little weak ways. So people will appreciate us. Some people will not. But for the fact that you guys can reach out to have add your voice to the national discourse on our platform, we highly appreciate you guys for coming. But as I always say, we are Liberians. We will continue to remain Liberians, no matter which part of the world we are. Liberia is the only country that we cannot be taken away from. I cannot be deported from Liberia. You cannot be deported from Liberia. Our never screens are buried in Liberia. I always tell people, if we love Liberia, we'll do what is right for our country. Liberia is our common denominator, our common patrimony. I love to use those words because those words, they are powerful and strong. So we supposed to be nationalistic. We're supposed to be patriotic in all that we do for our country, Liberia. I always tell people that it's always good to put the country interest first above our interest. We mean well for Liberia. We mean good for our country. And I always say, I pray that God will give Liberia that leader that will put the interest of the people above his or her interests. Because Liberia needs the best of everything. We have all of the resources. We have all of what it takes to transform that country, but we don't have leaders that will really utilize the resources for its intended purpose. So we pray that God will send the right person. If Councillor Gonglo will be the right man for Liberia, I ask God that he should visit the minds of the Liberian people. He should appear to them in their dreams and in their sleep, like the way he did in the days of old. Tell them that Councillor Gonglo is the right man that will transform Liberia, so that Liberia can get on the rightful path, so that Liberia can take a rightful spot among the community of nations. Because we are too small with many a bountiful of resources, yet we are living in abject poverty. I remember when the war came, I was much smaller. We were in that war. We were there. As for me, I was there until the war ended. Because of the war, some of our life went backward. We are still struggling to put our life on the rightful path, like many other people. So we all want good for Liberia. We don't want to go back to the dark days. We want peace and tranquility. We want for us to unite, put aside our differences, pick up the broken pieces, and build our country. But we only need a leader that will lead. Because if you don't have a leader that will lead in that direction, you will not have the people following. So, Councillor Gonglo referred to himself as a project manager. So, if Councillor Gonglo will deliver good on his project, like everybody is saying that he's a good man, I pray that God will visit the minds, the heart of the Liberian people. Tell them that this is the man I want you guys to go for, and we hope that we can have the needed change comes October 10. So I appreciate you guys for coming on, and we will continue to be here, but next time I will encourage you guys to, you know, put up some of your best females so that they can come on here too, so that we can hear from them. Because most time people say, "Oh, because we're going to have guys, we're not ready seeing the female behind you." Even though I see some females, but they are not ready in the forefront when it comes to discussing the issue. They are always in the back. So we appreciate you guys for coming on, and I will give you guys the opportunity now to give your parting comment. Maybe some of the things that we didn't ask you, you want to talk about it. You can go ahead, each of you guys.
Chairman, you want to go first?
I thought the chairman will be the last.
Okay, all right. So let me go.
Yeah, chairman, all close. And nobody, when the chairman speak, nobody else will speak.
Yeah, that's true. Let me go. Okay. We didn't speak detail into infrastructure in the country.
Okay.
And we feel that the Liberian people must rest assured. Agriculture runs parallel with road development, because if you're going to get the goods from the farms, how do they get to the marketplaces? You ain't going to jump. We don't have helicopter to pick it up, even if we had. But here in the great United States or in any developed country, you can go to a marketplace with helicopter and get goods. No. So the Liberian people must rest assured. Today, you see that there is, if you look at some of our videos, you see how much damage is on the road. These are simple things that can be done. The money is available. The international community is ready. In fact, has been, not is ready. The international community has been supporting road development through the technical arm of the government. But this money has been mismanaged. People have converted this funding into their personal use. So Liberian people, you can rest assured with a Taiwan-led government, we're going to have better roads where our goods will be brought to the marketplaces and will be self-sufficient, food sufficient. One of the major points on our 10-point agenda. Thank you for having us on your program, and we hope to appear again. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so after the chairman speaks, nobody speaks, so I'll go next. Yeah, so thank you, Mrs. Dakpanan, for bringing us on your show to give a little bit of insight and enlightenment about who Councillor Gonglo is and what his vision is for Liberia. I know we didn't get to talk so much about his vision, but I can assure you Councillor Gonglo has planned for this country as stated in his 10-point agenda. He has, I know you touched on women involvement. I can assure you that Councillor Gonglo's government, he's expressly said that his government will not have less than 50% women. And I can also assure you that unlike our current government, he's not going to sleep with any of these women to get jobs. That's a statement made by the chairman that has never been refuted by any of the...
He said that was liquor talk.
Well, the people who were accused could have at least come up and say and challenge him on that. So since they haven't done it, it's left with us to make our own interpretations. But I can assure you, Councillor Gonglo is not going to sleep with any woman to get jobs. People are going to get jobs because of gender equality and on their own merits. The other thing is Councillor Gonglo lives with the people, so he understands the struggle. So he knows that one of our biggest challenge is the rule of law. He's represented people in all these cases, and he feels very bad that none of them came to conclusion. I was asking the last time, what about the cases? He said, well, it's difficult to for these people to get closure because the government appoints. I mean, the police will appoint people to investigate the case, and they never come with a conclusion to the case. So how the case doesn't really go to court. So he's looking for an opportunity to give these people closure. That's another reason why he's agreed to participate in the race. Councillor Gonglo is also looking forward to where the rule of law can really exist, where a policeman can really be paid adequately so that he doesn't have to be taking money from people in the streets. He wants a policeman to be well respected, where nobody will call a policeman on the phone and cussing up to give somebody their driver's license back. He wants a system where you and somebody else who have way more money than you can go to court and you still get justice. He wants a government where we will not have to be importing 80% of the rice we eat when rice is our staple food, and we'll be paying our military every month, every year for protecting us when we haven't even been attacked once by an outside force. So at least the military has agriculture battalion. We can put them to work. They can grow food for us in the absence of war. That's how you defend us against hunger, since we don't have any other enemies. The military also has engineering battalion that we can utilize. The road construction, bad road construction all over the country. Councillor Gonglo, when we talked a few days ago, he told me, he said, I haven't seen any road as bad as the road between Tapita and Zwedru. Even though he complained about the road in Lofa, but he tells me the road between Tapita and Zwedru is worse than any other road he's been traveling on. And I'm telling you that Councillor Gonglo has traveled extensively to all these places because he's been touring all the counties, all the towns, all the villages, everywhere he went. And so these are things that Councillor Gonglo wants to address. Councillor Gonglo wants to address the education system, where we have people who can, even if they try to afford the tuition, they can't afford a uniform. Imagine uniform more expensive than tuition. So he wants a system where parents will not have to be bothered about uniform. They won't have to be bothered about tuition. They won't be worried about the kind of environment that the children will be learning in, because he will improve all the facilities there. Children will be students from kindergarten to 12th grade will be provided free education, free uniform, free labs, improved laboratories, improved libraries, and everything they need to learn. And as far as the health sector, Councillor Gonglo has said that people 65 years and older will have free medical care, because that's where people die easily because of lack of finances to seek medical attention. Another area where people die a lot are infants between 0 and 5 years. So all those people will get free medical care. Pregnant women will get free medical care as well. So I know as I speak of these things, I'm sure you're wondering where the money will be coming from. Councillor Gonglo is not looking forward to going as the international community for money or go look for foreign investors. Once he improves the security system in the country, once there's rule of law in place, investors, you don't have to go look for investors. Investors will come after you, after you come to the country and ask to invest here. They just want a level playing field. So there will be money, and all the money that are getting lost, because the Gonglo will be able to protect our money. 16 billion will not lose again. 125 US million will not lose again. You will not yet see they give the country money for COVID and the money disappear. You will not yet see they collected money for road funds and they use it to pay civil servant salary. There will be no need for government to be the largest employer, because Once the security is improving the country, investors will be coming here and providing jobs. So there are so many things Councillor Gonglo has on his plate that he can do for Liberia. And so we're looking forward to getting Councillor Gonglo elected, because we know that this is the time that we will catch up with the people, the countries that we admire most. And I will name them again: Rwanda, Botswana, Ghana, Singapore. Those countries we will be able to catch up with, because we can apply our resources, and we have tons of resources that are just disappearing from the countries on helicopters and what have you. So thank you very much for having us, and we look forward to coming again.
So, with your chairman, I want for you to add this to your party. The last time we saw on the news, there was some Rick Monroe within the LPP national, like the chairman, I think the chairman and the Senate bearer, they were suspended by the National Executive Committee. Have you guys settled that? What really transpired? Chairman, we're not getting you.
I'm very sorry. I was
Okay.
on mute. Yeah.
You were on mute. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You heard the question, right?
Yeah, I did. And
you included in your closing.
Yeah. So first of all, let me tell you how appreciated I am to be on this platform. And let me speak to the issue first, that the chairman and standard bearer, they were suspended. That is not actually true. The standard bearer was in the United States in October, November, December, thereabout, and there was an agreement between our other partisans and the standard bearer, which was immediately resolved by the standard bearer. It was our party chairman, rather, let me correct myself here, that has on disagreement with other partisans, and those were resolved by the intervention of the party elders as well as the standard bearer. So we have been working together, and like in any human institution, people agree on strategies and disagree on strategies. And so the party has been working very hard with the standard bearer, and every other thing is in place. And we are working harder than before to ensure that we have candidates that are ready in all the counties to win elections. And we also been working to appeal to our people to register to vote for Councillor Gonglo. So this is where we are. We have more strategies that will take us to areas that we think will be able to win more votes in order to be victorious in the coming elections. Before leaving, I also want to appeal to everyone, Liberians in the diaspora, to join LPP. Yep. This is the party of the future, the party of the people. You are a Liberian. You are a member of this party. The party belongs to you, because we say this is the Liberian People Party. And this is the same Liberian People Party that began to question the power that be, to say, look, hey, Talbot, this cannot go on forever. Our people cannot go hungry because you guys want to import rice and carry the price to a point that is not payable. This is a party that went in the villages over the years, that educated our people on having a better standard of living and better quality of life. This is the party, and that's how it all began. And this is where we are today. We still have a lot of work ahead of us, and we need more people on board in order to carry the work on. Besides, we have various groups that support our candidate. If you are not ready to say, well, let the political party be here, let me join one of the movements. We appreciate that as well. Join the movement, take part in the rallies, make sure that we fund those activities that will help us to get a better leadership tomorrow. This is the kind of road that we are on, and this is a burden that is on every one of us to ensure that we do not go backward, we go forward. We are not the only country that ever been to war. We are not the only country that turned on its own, like what we did in Liberia. Sierra Leone also had similar problem. Rwanda also had similar problem. Croatia has similar problem. So we can do better by starting on a new footing that will lead us in a better direction than still thinking that anybody else can just be our leader. And anybody can just be a leader means you are heading for more trouble than what we have had over the past 6 years. So we need to appeal to our people to understand. Don't give anybody a blank check. Don't tell anybody, oh, whether you know how to lead or you don't know how to manage the resources, we'll say vote for you. That is a mistake. It was a mistake yesterday, and it is a mistake today. And it's going to be another mistake tomorrow if you don't vote right. This is why we're appealing to everyone. LPP is open 24/7. We have our websites. We are on Facebook. We are on WhatsApp. We everywhere. You can contact any of us, and we are willing to work with you at any level. Every one of us should be full soldiers for a better Liberia tomorrow. That is why Gonglo carries a broom to sweep corruption, but not to leave it there or to sweep it under the carpet, but to make sure that corruption is totally out of the little country with more resources. So thanks very much, brother. We always appreciate you, and we always come on this show.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you guys, even those that came earlier on and had to drop out due to some technical difficulty. Yeah, the Dakwana show is also broadcast on YouTube. You can also, if you guys want to replay, you can go on YouTube. It's there. And I want to say thank you all for joining the platform. I highly appreciate you guys joining the show to discuss the LPP plans for October 10. And I want to say you guys are always welcome to come back at any time, free of charge. So this is how we want to contribute to our country in our little weak ways. So you guys are welcome, and I'm looking forward to having conversation with you guys behind the scene. Thanks to Mr. Gion Zoga. That name, but I know that Zoga name because my foster brother, that was his name, Jerry Zoga.
Okay.
I hope you guys didn't relate them. But thank you guys.
Jerry Zoga from Puebla.
No, he's from Duaza.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
But I appreciate all you guys, and we will find that door. I will find him for leaving the show unceremoniously.
Oh, okay. He said that he had another forum to attend, so he
Okay. Yeah, that doing myself always talk behind the scene. You know, he's my good friend.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Okay, bro. We appreciate you,
So,
man.
ladies and gentlemen, everybody following, this is how I want to wind down the curtains of the Darkman Show this edition, and I want to say thank you all for all of the support and for your listening role, your viewing role. Want to appreciate all of you guys. Join us again another time with another round of discussion. See you guys. Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Oh God. Oh man. Okay.